All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to say this because it's been a while, but this is Sean Williams, aka Mr. President, and I am the host and founder of The Safe Room. The Safe Room is a safe space where we allow entrepreneurs and business owners here in Toronto to share their personal stories and professional backgrounds. Because here at the Safe Room, everyone has access to sharing their personal stories. And today, it's a special conversation because it's the first one of 2026. It's a new year. Happy New Year. I hope you guys are all doing well, doing swell. I hope y'all ate much food during the holiday season. I know I did for sure. So we're now back into it. We're back into our scheduled programming. And I figured that to myself, like, you know what? I gotta get someone like very special. I gotta get someone that's gonna like set the tone. And like the funny backstory about this is that she reached out to me. I didn't have to reach out to her. Like, usually I reach out to people, but she reached out to me. So I felt like, ooh, I felt gaslighted. Like, okay, jeez, I see you. So listen, today the conversation is on, home ownership. And I feel like we need to get the queen when it comes to these type of conversations. I see her having these amazing conversations with these nonprofits. I see her doing amazing work for her community as a mortgage agent. So I figure like we have to again get her on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, coming all fresh and clean with the blazer. I feel like now you're making me like I gotta go in my closet and grab my stuff now. Like I don't know what's going on. But without further ado, we have Miss Desiree. Desiree, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone, including yourself. Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited.
Yes, we're excited. We're happy to have you here. And I can see Chanel's already active in the chat with the Happy New Year. That's for people who don't know. Chanel is my twin sister. She supports the show every
Oh,
single week. So I'm just glad to
I
have her
love
back on.
that. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. So, Desiree, like I mentioned, we're going to get into your backstory. We're going to get into how you got started as a mortgage agent. We're going to talk a little bit about home ownership because, listen, the big 2026, it's not only necessary, but I feel like it's not a conversation that's being talked about enough. We got to
Agreed.
bring it to the forefront. But
Agreed.
before we get into anything like that, guys, make sure if you're watching this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, okay? I don't say this often, but now that's going to change. It's a new year, new rules, and new standards, okay? Like, share, subscribe. Please do that for the Safe Room. We want to spread the message, spread the lovely conversations that we're doing. Again, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. You can also head to Love Bay's website to listen to it live here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. So again, please do that because who doesn't love to have conversations with the people you know and the people you love here on the Safe Room? So I know it's been a lot of like housekeeping. Let's get into the good stuff now, okay? And I haven't done this segment in a while, so it's good little warm up for me. But ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. If you've been a long time supporter of the Safe Room, it's the hot seat. Now, Desiree, listen, I already got her scared, guys. I got her scared. You're good. Don't worry. Don't worry. So I'm gonna ask you 4 questions, and I just want you to answer them to your best abilities. Okay?
Okay, let's do
Okay.
it.
Perfect. Perfect. And I see again, people are here to support you. Mortgage Queen, we have as a commenter. So
Woo!
Brianna's here to support. Okay. So she's got your back. Okay. Don't
Thank
worry.
you. Thank you.
So the first question: outside the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
Ooh, I am extremely passionate about everything that I do. It doesn't matter if it's career, family, friends, community. I'm very passionate in every single thing that I do.
Yeah, I could definitely tell. Like you got that like energy, you know. No, it's important. I think it's really important to have like that passion in everything that you do. And I don't
I
even
think
want to
so
like,
too.
yeah, 100%. I
Yeah,
mean,
it brings excitement to things. You don't want to be somber and just dragging your feet. You want to be excited to do things.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like if there isn't an excitement to what you do, then you're not actually living life.
Yeah, if you don't care, if you're stoic, if you're just like, nonchalant, then people are gonna wonder, what do you care about? And maybe you might have nothing that you care about because you are so wrapped up in being stoic and nonchalant. So I like to show that I do care. I'm passionate. I love very hard, in a healthy way, so that people feel that community when they're around me.
Yes, absolutely. Just a follow-up question. Do you feel like people read that from you, and is it like a turn off for them? It's like, yo, you're too much. Like, I love the energy, but like,
That's a great question. Actually, people always call me passionate and they never say it with a negative undertone. They always say it in a positive light. For a while it took like it like brought me back. I was like, what do you mean I'm passionate? It was like every single time someone spoke to me, it was the number one thing they characterized me as. And I was like, what? Let me look up this word to see if they're, sneak dissing or something. But no, it's nice. I embody it. I embrace it because I am a very passionate person. And whenever someone meets me, as I said, I hope they feel that community from me and that I do care about what happens to them, what happens to me, and the transaction that's happening in that moment.
100%. Positive energy. We're starting off, ladies and gentlemen. We love to see it. We love to see it. Okay.
Yes.
My next question. Now, this one, I'm gonna have to get a little bit deep into the wounds. I hope it's not as too deep, but I want you to tell me about your most stressful day
Oh
as a
my God.
mortgage agent, for your experience, like your most stressful day.
So I would say, and again, this is all individual to me as a mortgage agent. Other people might have different experiences. For me, the two most stressful portions of my job is documents, getting those documents from your clients. Oh my goodness, it's like pulling teeth. And then also, because with documents, it's not just the initial documents that you have to send as a client. Down the line, you might have to send more because it's an investigation essentially that the lender is doing. So they might call for more and more and more paperwork. And sometimes we're at the end of the line and they're still requiring paperwork and documents. And clients sometimes get demotivated and say, why am I still having to send things? Why are they still looking into things? Especially for people who are like business for self, when they have businesses that they're running, multiple businesses as well, sometimes there's a lot of digging that has to happen. And a lot of the times I see my clients getting a little bit nervous because they don't know if their work or paperwork is necessarily clean. And especially if it's at the end road, they're like, oh my gosh, am I not going to end up qualifying? Like we're right there. The second thing that would be, I would say, the most stressful for me is the networking portion. I'm an introvert. I do a lot of my networking online through an app that I won't say, I won't shout it out, but that's how we came into contact, right? I messaged you through that platform. I do that very frequently. I don't really, it's not my favorite thing to go to networking parties. So I would say that kind of holds me back in a sense because sometimes people are more extroverted and they want to sit down. They want something that's more tangible, you know?
That's me for
I'm
sure.
I'm more of like, no, like we could just, kiki over the phone, maybe do a little call, maybe a video chat, but commuting, driving, networking parties, it's very exhausting for me as an introvert. So sometimes that's a little daunting when I have to do it for my career.
Honestly, I completely understand. Like the document side of things is just I think in anything, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or like an industry leader, having to deal with documents is just like
Yeah.
it's a hassle. I think that's why AI has become so popular now. Just like if I
Yeah.
can get like a chat GPT or anything, an agent tool to just do that for me, then it cuts my time in half. It allows you to, put more effort into certain projects and other things as well. And even like you mentioned, for someone who's an extrovert, yeah, like I know my limits when it comes to networking events and like taking things simple and just not
Yeah.
doing so much. Like I will say this, there was a period like 2023, I could not stay inside my house. Like I was outside, like
Outside.
outside. And then the last 2 years, I was just thought to myself, like, let me take a break and just relax. Like easy, Sean. Like you gotta do too much.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that because that was me in 2025. I was very like, I'll be outside, I'll meet anybody, everyone, and anybody. And this year, I'm very much like, let's slow down, let's reevaluate, strategize, really see what we want to do with my business and make sure that I have enough energy to, source for every avenue within the business that I'm, managing.
100%. Okay, going on to the next question for this hot seat segment. I want you to tell me an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Interesting fact that I rarely share about myself. I wouldn't say rarely share about myself, but I don't share it as much as I used to. I actually lived in the States for more than a year, and it was the best experience of my life. I don't regret it. It was 10 out of 10. And I would love to do it again. Yeah, it was just amazing. Specifically, I was in Washington State, I was in Seattle, and the vibes, the people, the culture, it was really great.
All
So I feel
right.
like even outside of that, like traveling is really important, seeing outside of your comfort zone, experiencing different people, different things.
You know what? That's so true. I think like we all need to travel more for sure. And honestly, the fact that you mentioned that you used to live in the States, I definitely see that in you. You definitely felt like someone
Oh,
that, you started in one area, then you moved out. So like now my question is just where do you think you wanted to go from the States to Canada, and I just before you answer that question, I just want to make sure that like we can see you fully in the frame. So
oh,
like if you
sorry.
could just, yeah, you're good, you're good. We want the full people, we want people to see like the full beauty, yeah, bro, the smile and everything, So yeah, but just what was that, shift to go from like being in the States and now coming into Canada?
Well, I was born and raised in Ontario, and then I moved there for a year and then I came back. And honestly, it was a culture shock both ways. So when I went to Seattle originally, I was in a city. I'm from a suburb, so it was an American city versus a Canadian suburb. And I was like the first graduating person, like grade in my high school. I went to a very small post-secondary school. I'm an introvert, as I said. I'm not used to a lot of people. So when I got there, I really had to go under the person's wing that I was with and let them guide me through that system. Once I was comfortable, I was like, oh my gosh, this is very similar to what I'm accustomed to. People are very friendly, very caring, very giving. And then when I came back to Canada, it was another culture shock because I was used to more of a nature. I was on the Northwest. So if you think of like BC, Vancouver, that's what I was accustomed to. Clear air, clear water, a lot of trees, and coming back to so much concrete, it was disheartening for me to, have to reintegrate into this type of society where everyone's more of like a hustler, entrepreneur, busy, don't really stop to say hello, more so just get to where you need to be. I remember I came back, and at the time I was a personal trainer, and I was talking to someone from my high school. We ran into each other at the mall of our city, and we're just chatting. And I had just touched down like a couple months ago, and this elderly lady came up to me and she started speaking to me, and she was just a full conversation like we knew each other. And table tennis, I was passing that conversation back and forth between us. And when she left, the person turned to me and they're like, do you know her? And I was like, no. It's like, why would you entertain that conversation? And I felt like such an alien. I was like, is that not what we do? I was so confused. I was like, I was just so accustomed to, because when I was in Seattle, I would be by myself while, people were working. I didn't have to work. So I would go and I would walk to the local parks. I was really into fitness. So I would run around and people would stop me and talk to me. And I loved it. So I brought that back home. And even my family, one time I was talking to someone on the bus on the way to Caravana, and my family's like, oh, there she goes again, just randomly talking to strangers. But I love it. I love it.
You know what? For someone who's an extrovert, that is something I don't even do. I don't entertain that myself. And like this is come from someone that's like, you know what it is? It's like if I meet you and it's like there is an intention rather than just like I will see someone just walk up and be like, hi. It's like if something were to happen, let's say we bump into each other, it was by
Mm-hmm.
accident, then I would think, okay, you know what? You acknowledge me, I acknowledge you. I feel more comfortable like approaching you. But yeah, I think you learned from your own personal experience. Like in Canada, it don't get down like that, especially
No,
Toronto. It do not get down like that.
especially. I also lived in Niagara, actually, Niagara region, St. Catharines, and they are more like that over there, where they will stop and say hello and all of that. But yeah, when you get closer to Toronto, it's not appropriate.
Yeah, it definitely depends on geographic location for sure. So anyway, going on to this last question for this hot seat segment. What is your personal safe room? So what is a safe space that it could be physical, it could be mental, spiritual, that allows you to be your authentic self?
Um, Outside of my relationship with God, I would say my relationship with my family keeps me very grounded. I have so many people in my family on my mom's side, and we're all very close, and we're all women mostly. So I have so many different people that I can call when I'm down, when I'm happy to celebrate. Even with this, doing the safe room with you, I was able to send it to the group chat. I have two group chats going with my grandmother's a twin. So I have one group chat for like my grandmother's offspring, one group chat with like her twins' offspring. I sent it to both, and people sent like congratulations, just that empowerment, that community. I love it. So that really does keep me safe. It keeps me grounded. Even when I was in the States, anything that I've ever gone through, either hardships or something that I celebrate, they're always, one of them is always there in my corner to like root me. So I really like that.
I absolutely love that for you. Shout out to the Lucien family. I hope you can see me. Hi, yeah. That's incredible. It's important to have family in your corner because no matter what, you have to have a support system in some
Yeah.
manner.
Yeah.
So I think for you, I love the fact that you have that family aspect, and they're supporting you in whatever case may be, whether it's professionally or even getting your flowers, like right now here on the safe room. So I love that for you. Okay, so that's it for the hot seat segment. Wasn't that crazy? Again, like
No,
very
I
like,
think I did amazing.
yeah, it's like it's lukewarm. Honestly, it's marketing. That's my background, marketing. So I just say hot seat just to get people scared, and then
Yeah.
afterwards, it's like, oh wow, Sean, it's like it's very chill actually. Actually, very
Yeah, it was an icebreaker.
yeah, yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course. So that's pretty much it for the hot seat. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, you're listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with Miss Desiree Lucien, a Ontario mortgage agent, probably the Ontario mortgage
Ooh, I
agent.
love that.
So yes, yeah, I'm giving you little nicknames and everything like that. So again, if you guys are tuning in, make sure again to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, LSS. That's gonna be our little acronym LSS. When you see that
Yes.
pop up, just make sure to do so. Again, we are live on YouTube right now. We're live on Instagram, LinkedIn. Also, you can go to the Love Bay website to stream it and listen to it live as we're going. But let's get into the main questions. Get to like why we're actually here today, because we need to talk about like your journey. We need to talk about home ownership and everything like that. We got to get to the bottom of it. So I want to ask you first, Desiree, what is the importance for you to serve your community, but also assist first time home buyers, with purchasing a home? Because obviously, when someone's trying to buy a home, the first thing that they think about is like, okay, how do I go about this? Like, where
Yeah.
do I start? Like, who could I reach out to that could really help me out in some manner? So, before you answer that question, I'm just seeing the chats blowing up. They're going crazy. See Chanel saying big up to the fam. Franz 9286, nice shout out to the family. I see Brianna showing the hearts and everything. I love it. I love it. This is also a common thing on the show. Like everyone's like super active in the chat.
I
So I
love
mean,
it.
there's a family vibe in there, a family thing. You
Yeah.
get me. You get me. All right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my energy, you guys. It's been a long day, but like again, what would you think is the importance to help those that are in your community, especially those who are buying a home for the first time?
Yeah, so that's really outside of helping people save their homes. That's really why I got into the industry as well, is first time home buyers. I love educating. This is the second business that I ran. I ran a personal training business prior to. And even in that role, it was all about educating, empowering, and making sure I'm not a crutch, but rather someone to uplift you. So I take the same thing and I apply it to mortgage as well. For first time home buyers, I never want them to feel like they're silly to ask a certain question or they should walk away keeping their mouth shut. I actually just got a referral for a first time home buyer and I spoke to them yesterday, and I was telling them that the most important thing for me as the professional in this relationship is that you walk away feeling empowered, confident, and knowledgeable every single time we speak. I don't want you to ever shy away from any type of question, any type of support that you need from me, because that is going to set you up for failure. And really, why I am a mortgage agent is because I feel like financial stability is how people feel safe and secure within themselves, right? So I really want to share that with my community and help them understand not only that they're worth home ownership, but that every step of the way they have somebody who they're able to feel supported by. Obviously your family, your friends, but sometimes depending, you might not have those people or be comfortable with those people telling them certain things within the experiences that you're going through when you're looking into buying a home. So I really like to, as you were saying, this is like a family environment. I like to bring that to my business as well, because I don't want anyone to feel as though they're below me, less than me, or that I am superior to them just because I specialize within this system. Rather, I want them to feel like we are going through this together and we're going to be a success together, so that they walk away and now they're able to provide that sense of support and education to the people in their community, whether it's someone younger or their peer.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like also when it comes to the community that you grow up in, it's also a byproduct of just like the people that are in there and exactly how they move, how they behave, how they operate. So, for example, like me coming from North York, there's a lot of folks that sometimes they like to be independent with how they, operate, whether it's like with their work or even just the people they hang out with, just their morals. And then there's other communities where it kind of feels like a village. Like everyone is in
Yeah.
tune with each other and everyone really supports each other in what they're doing. So I think for yourself, I love the fact that you're trying to build that like community
Yeah.
slash village type of structure. Cause I think for a lot of communities right now, we don't see that a lot outside of like maybe community organizations that are
Yeah.
trying to fit that gap, and try to make sure that there is a level of communication and accountability. But I think for us too, it's not just community organizations, it's mortgage agents like yourself. Even for myself, I want to be more of a beacon and a pillar to my community, whether it is creating more spaces for storytelling, more spaces to share, to be open. If there's things that you want to talk about, whether it's even good news or maybe just need things to get off your chest, like I think that's super important. And I love that you keep that same type of value within your business model and just how you operate as a mortgage agent, because it's important to establish relationships and really have that trust. It builds that family bond, like you mentioned.
100%. And I feel like isolation isn't good for anybody. There are certain times when you want to be by yourself. Of course, that is a healthy balance. But isolation and self isolation and just not wanting to collaborate, that can be a disservice to you in the end, because everything's going to fall on your shoulders. And it's better. Even I worked in the bank. When you do like the safe and things, they say two eyes are better than one. So you always go with your partner. Whatever you miss, your partner's supposed to catch, and vice versa. So I like to bring that collaborative effort into my business. It's not just you by yourself getting a home, it's us, everybody, and everyone that I work with on that transaction, the lawyers, the lenders. I have personal relationships with them where I trust them as well, so that we're all in this together rather than you feeling isolated, alone, and having to do it by yourself.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, it's kind of brought up a follow-up question because, like you mentioned, it's not just like you working with a potential client and that's it. There's obviously like middle gateways that you go through, like with the lawyers and the lenders. So, like, what does that process look like? Not to go full into detail because obviously I don't need you to like go super deep. And it's like, guys, like I don't need you to know exactly how I do it, but just like in a quick overview too, because
Yeah.
obviously there are some people like I've met people that have asked me questions surrounding what I do that I would have never thought they would have asked. It's like, where did you think of this? Like, this is only like I feel like only business people that are given constructive criticism would ask these questions, but they're like
Yeah.
random folks that would ask you this. So I just wanted to pitch that to you because I think it's important for everyone listening, and obviously like the chat, they're obviously getting active as well. I see Nicole LB said advice in getting started with a mortgage agent for a first time home buyer. Of course, absolutely. So I
Yes.
mean, again, just break down a little bit of just like what is like that relationship between like the mortgage agent like yourself, the lenders, lawyers, other people that are involved.
Yeah. So for me, how I work is, if it's a referral, it comes to me and then you go through my application link. Myself and my team work on representing you as the borrower. The lender has different representation. And that's why it's important for you to know your lawyer as well. Don't assume that anyone is going to look over your paperwork and cover you, because it's almost like You, not you versus the lender, but you are a separate entity from the lender. More so, I am a part of your team, my brokerage is part of your team, and then if I refer a lawyer to you, that's also a part of your team. The lender also has to do their due diligence and they have their team as well. We do work side to side, but if there's anything that they don't like, or maybe they present something that might be, that you should really look into. There's examples, like I had a client who came to me and they had no idea that they were supposed to get their own real estate lawyer, and they kind of just brushed over the paperwork. And when I looked at the deal, I said the way that this is structured is only benefiting one party, which is the lender, right? You want to make sure as the borrower you are also protected, because the lender, yes, they want to work with you, but you are an investment to them. So they want to make sure they get the most money for their investment, right? They want you to pay back whatever you're owing plus some. And sometimes, depending on where you are in terms of financial stability, I don't want to use the word take advantage, but they might challenge your knowledge towards the situation and may put things in your deal that might require you to pay more money than you should. So I always tell my clients, when you come to me, you do the application link, we go through our conversations, I get to know what your goals are in terms of home ownership, and then I ask, do you have a real estate lawyer? If they don't, I refer one to them, one that I trust and I know who's going to take care of my client. And then from there, we present everything that we can to the lender, or I present it. And we kind of go back and forth to see what needs to be done in order for the lender to be happy with the borrower. So, for example, if it was like a refinance, and or let's say a new purchase, and there was some credit cards that you had, the lender might say, hey, I don't like that you have $15,000 on your credit card. You need to pay that off prior to us closing on this mortgage. They're not going to tell the borrower directly. They're going to tell me, and they're going to send that paperwork to the real estate lawyer. And then we both, real estate lawyer and I, go to the borrower and we talk to the borrower about, okay, do you understand these stipulations to move forward? Do you agree with them, disagree? How do you want to move forward? And it goes back and forth like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think hearing from what you've explained, it's like there are some similarities depending on like the career and occupation. Like for example, I've been like recently diving into a lot of like information about insurance and like
Yes.
insurance agents. It's like I think what's the similarities is that the level of transparency, because sometimes like, and it's unfortunate, you'll find some people that are just like they won't be as upfront.
Yeah.
It's like they'll give you like the niche, but they
Yeah.
won't go even deeper. It's just like, okay, like listen, like you mentioned, okay, 15,000 may not be like the right amount that we're looking for. So like, are you sure you want to go this route? Some people might just keep their mouth hush and think like, I don't know, this is good, but hey, if it means I'm gonna get commission or get paid, then
Yeah.
yeah, it just is what it is. And I feel like again, it's important that for us, it's that accountability and transparency that we're adopting into our everyday like line of work. That's super important. I love that you broke it down in that manner because again, I feel like most people may not be able to be upfront with that. So I just want to say thank
Yeah.
you for like just saying that out loud because I think it's just super important.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Of course, of course. It gets to my next question actually, and this is where I want to get like it's gonna be like the juice of the conversation, like the big part, right? Now, I just want to let you guys know I'm not calling out this generation. I think this generation's awesome. I'm technically part of this generation. Like I'm Gen Z, even though like I don't really like to claim myself as Gen
Wait,
Z.
what?
Yeah, I was born in 2000.
Oh,
Yeah, like right at the I guess the beginning.
cuz
But
yeah, I'm a millennial.
yeah, yeah, like yeah, people like you don't give off Gen Z energy. I'm like clearly
I thought you were a
because
millennial.
I
I
don't
was
give off that energy.
That's good. That's good.
I mean, sure. I guess I don't even want to get off topic, but yeah. What I want to ask you is, do you think that this current generation is not taking enough of an advantage when it comes to home ownership? And what I mean by that, do you think it's like a lack of information that they're not looking to understand more of, or maybe it's those who are getting into it and like you said, like maybe they're not being as considerate of the decisions that they're making. Maybe they just assume that, okay, like I gotta get someone, like they represent me. Like I asked them, I want to get this house, or I want to like refinance it, or like a new purchase, and everything's fine. Like, do you feel like it's that, or even like, is it a duality of both? Like, what would you say about this current generation that you may feel they're not understanding or taking advantage of when it comes to home ownership as a whole?
And do you mean this generation as in like people from what, like ages 20 to 25, 19 to 28? Like what age group are we specifically talking about?
I would honestly would like to keep it around like that, like 20 to 25, or even like that 20 to 29, because
Okay.
I feel like when you get into your like your 30s, like you do have a full understanding, and obviously
Mhm.
everyone's life is like completely different, where like maybe you have things figured out at a younger age. So I would
Yeah.
definitely say 20 29. But even too, I don't want to restrict this conversation just to that. I think even anyone who's like in their mid 30s or even in their 40s that are going through some things would like to know. But I just kind of want to start at the young, and maybe through then we can kind of build up a bit.
Yeah. I would say that this generation, I think that we all are really motivated to learn. And I love that. There's so many different social platforms that we're utilizing. Yeah, we're utilizing it for like doom scrolling and sometimes not the healthiest things. But I see the conversations, even within my family, we are, grouped in different generations, right? So we have people who are older than me, we have my age group, and then we have the younger bit. And I know in terms of conversations, the younger people in my family, they're having such stimulating conversations about so many different things around the world and political things outside of politics. It's really intriguing for me. And just the passion to learn and to obtain that knowledge, I don't feel like I grew up with that. I remember growing up, and I don't know if it's necessarily where I grew up or how I grew up, but I don't remember having those type of conversations with people in my friend group. I don't remember anyone being passionate to learn about things like home ownership or financial literacy. So I really will give that to this generation. I will say, in my experience, compared to what I experienced personally, it's a lot more passion to learn and to be knowledgeable and to go out there and find those transferable skills to bring you to the next, place. What I would say, the odds are stacked against us. With social media, it's a blessing and it's a curse. As I brought up, doom scrolling. Yes, we have so much knowledge at our fingertips, but sometimes I feel as though we don't utilize it for that. These are mini computers at our hips 24/7 in our beds all the time. And we could really be, changing and shaping certain things in our lives with this device, but rather we're sinking into, that hole of just watching silly videos. So I would say, yes, there is some type of lack when it comes to, people in that generation wanting to get homes, but I feel as though the odds are almost stacked against them because there's so much investment into these social media platforms, and we're always going to have it at our fingertips on top of the lack of incentives and resources that the government is providing for these people to learn about these topics, right? I always felt like it should be integrated into the school system, especially when it comes to home ownership. And outside of that, financial literacy in general. For me, I started learning about finance and about money when I was about 18, 19. And that was more so because I would ask people who are older than me. It wasn't because it was already integrated into my day to day. And then I had no idea what home ownership entailed until I became a mortgage agent. And if I wasn't in that career, in that system, in that specialty, I probably wouldn't have known anything until I sat down with a mortgage agent or a mortgage professional. So I would say, us having that passion to learn, we also have to take that learning and actually utilize it and do something with it. As I said, social media is against us with all of the investments. It's at our fingertips. It's always there distracting us, as well as the government, I feel like, could do a little bit better in terms of bringing up programs that are free for learning in terms of financial literacy or home ownership, etc., even insurance as well. So but at the same time, I feel like, yeah, like we have that passion to learn and we do have that ability to grasp it from those avenues, but I don't see a lot of people who are actively going out there and coming to me or coming to other professionals and trying to ask those questions to learn how to expand their knowledge that they find at their fingertips. I had, like, out of all of the seminars that I've done in the last few years, I've had one person come to me outside of that seminar and say, hey, can I continue to learn? Can I continue to kind of understand how you do things? Every time I post on social media, they're kind of engaging with that. And I think it's amazing. I even shout out that individual at the end of my seminar because they're 18 years old and they just, came out of post-secondary and they're ready to, like, learn about this. They do want to get into finance as well, but even that passion and them wanting to apply it to their life, I feel like we should be more motivated to do that rather than just obtaining that knowledge. Again, to reiterate, also applying that knowledge and reaching out to those individuals who can actually make that, desire and that passion a reality.
Hey, I feel like I should just kind of cut things off. I feel like you got it. You could just talk the rest of the show. I got nothing else to say. Like, honestly, the words you were sharing, it got my brain like turning in terms of, like, again, like, we need to do something. And I think Nicole in the chat hit it right on the head. Like, we need to create a new narrative. Like, there needs
Yeah.
to be a new narrative in place. I'm not sure what does that look like specifically. I don't think there's nothing wrong of what's happening right now with the folks who are creating those opportunities for self-awareness and education and information that's going to be like indulgent but also informative and valuable. But at the same time, it's just with the social media that you see today, just like, it's just, again, it's overconsumption, and it's
Yeah.
just such an imbalance where it's like, as much as there's so much good, the algorithms is going to push something else. Like, it's just, again, there's a different agenda, and that just becomes such an offset in between of what you could be like doing to further yourself in life to what's actually going to be bringing you back into
Yeah.
loops where it's just like, well, unless I feel like I want to step out, I'll step out. But until now, I'll just kind of
Yeah.
go in this,
Yeah.
exactly, this
Yeah.
constant circle.
To expand on your point, I had someone actually reach out to me. Or sorry, I reached out to them because I saw that they just recently got a home. And I was like, oh, I wasn't on that transaction. That's a little peculiar. And they said to me, I referred to your page all the time while I was getting my home and trusting the bank. I would refer to your I'll say it, Instagram, and I would go through your educational pieces to kind of support me through this transaction. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm happy that the information's there. I always love providing free learning to everybody because, again, it's at your fingertips. Like, we should be utilizing it. But it was a little disheartening that they still went to the bank and got their mortgage there. But regardless, I love to provide that learning because even if it's one person that's educated, whether they come with me as not as a client, that's exactly what I think the platform should be utilized as. Sometimes I do put like funny videos or silly things, but I really do hold myself accountable to always trying to educate people who follow me on that platform because I think that that is the most powerful thing. You're able to be on the fingertips of so many different people. You can really make a difference for those individuals.
Yeah, for sure. And just want to add one more thing before I go on to my next question. Is I think it's also a matter of people are comfortable of
Yeah.
where they're at. So, like you mentioned, like, they got like such great advice from you and the referrals, yet they went back to the bank. Why? Because it's been established. They're comfortable with it. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, it's a guilt trip. I'll put my hand up. I've been comfortable with certain things in place too. And like, I'm trying to not latch onto it so much and say like, okay, listen, like, I don't have to go this direction all the time when things just are either like good or bad. If I'm making a shift, I can step into something different that's like, what, I'm not familiar with, but I can't keep doing the same, flow of just
Yeah.
going back and forth, back and forth. Cause like, what's that doing to me? Like, am I actually going to be content with my decision?
Yeah. And you realize when you step back, you're in a loop. And that's what I really that makes me so uncomfortable. Yeah, you get comfortable, but then it's discomfort when you realize you're in a cycle and every year of your life is just repeating itself in a small way or in a large way. And when you really start to recognize those trends, oh, this was happening similar around the time last year. I was going through the same emotions or the same feelings or the same conflicts with the same people. You start to get motivated to, want to break free. And I'm hoping that when people start to do that, they're able to look at the pieces and the education that I provide, and they can expand on it from that knowledge.
100%, 100%. Okay, I want to go on to my next question. I'm going to skip one because, I feel like, I'm keeping manage of time a bit. Hopefully we'll get some time, but I want to get to this question first before I get to like my last question, and then we'll wrap things up. Being in the space for a while, what have been some things you've questioned just based on like your fellow like mortgage agent peers that, and this again, I want to let people know we do not condone drama or tea on the safe room. That's not the whole point of this question. I just
Yeah.
think, again, like just to kind of expand on what we've been talking about, there are some people that will give misinformation. Sometimes it's out of like misintent. Other times, like they may have a full agenda, or like I know what I'm doing. But at the same time, I feel like have there been things you've seen or heard or questioned that you want to change the narrative on and just be as an educator and provide clarity for folks who want to know more.
So I'll say two things, and they definitely complement each other. So I sat down with somebody last year, and they were telling me about their experience being a homeowner. They were a fellow entrepreneur, fellow professional, so it wasn't like a client type of relationship. They were just sharing their personal experience with it, and they said I didn't even meet my mortgage agent. And I said, "Huh?" They're like, yeah, I never met my mortgage agent. I actually called them and said, hey, like we're midway through the transaction. Can I meet you, or can we hop on like a video call? And they're like, no, it's okay. We're almost done. Everything's good. My mouth was like open. I was like, what?
Bro, that is given like pyramid scheme scam right there. Like, hey, you're looking for a house? I got a house right here in the corner. Just come by.
No, seriously. It's like, what? And then recently I did an interview, and I was speaking to the videographer beforehand, and they were just asking me questions about my career, personal questions. And I said, like, what did you want to do outside of this? And I said, I wanted to do therapy, right? Be a therapist. And they said, maybe you should kind of like get back to that, because I've never seen a mortgage agent who speaks about mortgages in the way that you do, in the caring manner that you do, in the community-based way that you do. And not to say that I agree with that individual or not. What I will say is I've been in a lot of different environments with a lot of different people, mortgages, insurance, and I feel as though the busyness of the GTA and the hustle to get money into your account definitely influences my industry, the insurance industry, and insurance and industries alike. I do see agents needing to get money in their account, and sometimes they're not able to mask that as well as maybe I do. I will say that. For me, I definitely want to get paid on the transaction, but more so, my passion and my drive is community. And I feel like anyone that comes into contact with me, they're able to see and feel that right away. And sometimes, as I said, it's not as easily masked for my peers. They might feel, or they might come across more transactional. Even when it comes to, I was speaking to another mortgage agent who's similar to me in terms of like that caring business. And we are talking about a real estate lawyer. They said that, yeah, I referred a client to a real estate lawyer, and the client came back to me really upset because the real estate lawyer was just so, harsh, or they were cold in the way that they were speaking. And, I'm not saying that it's a lawyer thing, but for me, when I speak to a lawyer, I'm not looking for them to like, pet my hand and be like, okay, sweetie, but it would be nice, right? It would be nice that when you're doing a transaction with any professional, you feel that kind of customer service, right? I had another client who came to me as a referral from my aunt, and it was a husband and a wife. And I remember on a Saturday, I run my business pretty much Monday to Friday, unless I have an ongoing file, then I do Monday through Sunday. But in terms of like my sourcing clients, networking, I do it during bank hours mostly. Not to say I don't do things outside of that. I'm always on the clock 24/7, but like nitty gritty in the, in the sand doing it, usually Monday through Friday. It was Saturday, she was my client, but there was nothing that was of urgency. And we spent about an hour and a half on the phone, and we did not talk about the mortgage for that hour and a half. We were talking about her family, about her health, about her kids, about her relationship. And I was just giving her advice in terms of what they should do as a family unit to get through what they were experiencing in terms of their mortgage. And that was the number one thing that she complimented me on. She was like, the way that you're able to balance customer service and care with professionalism, I haven't seen any other entrepreneur do it in the way that you do. So I would say that would be like the biggest thing that kind of separates. But I do see a lot of care. I'm not saying that there aren't caring mortgage agents or professionals who are like me. It's just that's the feedback that I've seen and heard, not only from others, but personally as well.
100%. Honestly, I feel like there's like a part two to that conversation for sure. There's definitely like things we can break down as a part of that. But I do want to go into our role play demonstration. So I know Desiree's not familiar with this, so I'm gonna break it down for her. So Desiree, let's just pretend like I'm not me. Like this is not Shon you're talking to. You're talking to
Okay.
someone completely different. And we're gonna treat this sort of like a one-on-one call. Like let's say I reached out to you and I'm thinking about buying a home. I want to make a purchase, and you're just gonna treat it like a consultation, like a normal consultation call or a referral call, wherever the case may be, whatever you want to title it. And people get to see a sense of just how you operate on a daily basis. It's simple as
I'm
that. Very
ready.
simple.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
cool.
ready.
I can tell you're looking at your eyes. You're like, hey, yo, just hit me with it. Just hit me. So how about this? How about this? So for the sake of it, again, I'm not Shon, right?
Yeah. What's
So
your name? Dave?
yeah, Dave. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I
Let's
like
go
that.
with
Dave.
Dave. Before we get started, I seen that Nicole added a comment. We need to get back to those personal relationships as we are definitely stronger together. One hundred
100%
percent,
agree.
absolutely. Okay, it's been a minute. Like usually, like I'm pretty like smooth into this, but it's been a minute, like a while. So I gotta get into the flow. But
Yeah, it's the
all right,
groove.
yes, all right, here we go. Hey Desiree, my name is Dave. I just want to say I was scrolling through your page and you just got good energy. I just want to say, like off the jump, you got good energy and I love it. I want to reach out to you because I'm thinking of purchasing a home. I live in Vaughan, and for the longest time, it's just like I don't like the area. I just wanted to move out, get out of my parents' crib. I love my parents, but I want to be by myself. So I found a very nice spot in Mississauga, and I just wanted to reach out to you. But obviously, like I don't know much. All I know is like I need to get a mortgage agent. I saw you. I really love just the advice you were given, and I would like to know a little bit more about what you do and how you could possibly help me.
Well, I definitely appreciate you reaching out, Dave. The first question I have, are you currently working with a realtor?
No, I am not. Is that crucial? I just need to know right now.
It's not crucial, but I just want to know how far you are in the purchasing process. Are you also a first time home buyer?
Yes, this is my first
Okay.
time.
So you're moving out of your parents' house. Congratulations. That's really exciting.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So you haven't looked for any, like, do you have a property in mind? Do you know anything? Like, have you started looking? You said
I
that you like Mississauga, but like, do you have a specific property that you are looking at?
I saw one place. It's a nice little house. It's got like two beds, two bathrooms, a nice little kitchen. I don't know the major details of that. Like probably because again, like I'm so new to it, but it is like in a very suburban area as well. It's not like loud where there's like lots of things going on in the background.
And do you have the down payment for the property?
Yeah, so I got about like lucky enough I've been working, I've been saving money. I got about like like 50,000 in
Oh, wow.
savings right now. So
That's good. That's a really good down payment. Do you know how much the property is valued at? I know that you said you're not working with a realtor, but do you know? Have you looked
I
into that?
I think it was I'm not so sure because like I
Okay.
remember looking at it, but like it was for a brief moment. But it might have been
Okay.
like I'm trying to remember because I'm trying to give you like the best answer possible, but like it's just not coming to me right now.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, no, no pressure. Do you know your credit bureau? Do you know what a credit bureau is?
No, I actually haven't. You mind explaining a little
Okay.
bit?
Do you know what a credit score is?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So your credit score comes from your credit bureau, and what your credit bureau represents is all of the relationships you have with different institutions. So your phone, for example, if you've ever gotten a personal loan, like do you know of like Easy Financial, Money Mart?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, credit cards, student loans, just anytime you've ever wanted to borrow money from an institution, it will reflect on your credit bureau. And then it spits out a number based on how well you manage those relationships. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Do you know what your score is, if you don't mind me asking?
I believe I'm at like a 794.
Okay. That's really good. That's really good. That's a good starting point. So we're at 794. We have $50,000 down payment. We're unsure of the property value. So what I'm going to need from you moving forward is to obtain the property address so that I can start looking into what that property value is. Then I can determine how much that $50,000 is for the down payment. So the ruling within Canada is we like to do 5%. So 5% of the purchase price would be, sorry, we do for down payment, it is between, for $500,000, we do 5% of that. And then for 500,000 for property value to 1.5 million, it's it's an additional 10%. So 15% down payment. And then it's 20% if the property is over 1.5 million. So if your property is over 1.5 million, the 20% of that, we would be looking in a good range, but we might have to pull some more funds out in order to get that down payment successful. I also want to ask you, are you currently employed or are you business for self? How is your occupation right now?
I am working right now. I'm not like self-employed. I obviously have like dreams of like opening my own business, but I think right now I just want to,
Yeah,
find a place to
that's,
live for
yeah.
sure. But I do appreciate everything that you share. You think we could like maybe schedule like a follow-up call so that way like we could break down more of the details?
For sure. So my last tidbit is you need to be at your job for at least 2 years. So as long as you have that paperwork to prove and your company is able to say, yes, they've been working here in this position for 2 years, then we're able to move forward with it. So the three things that are most important right now for you is the down payment, the credit bureau, as well as your employment. As long as
Okay.
those three things are good, then yeah, we can move forward.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Desiree. I appreciate it.
Yes, of course.
All right, scene. So yeah, that's just how it works. That's how the role play basically is done. So again, it's been a minute since I've done it. And I feel like it was calm for me. It was calm for me. How do you feel?
It was good. It was good.
Okay, perfect, perfect. But guys, we are out of time. Nowadays, like we're gonna be on a time crunch. I'm not gonna lie. We're no longer the last show on a Thursday night, so this is obviously new to me. So we're gonna have to wrap things up. But Desiree, I do appreciate you coming on, being the first guest for 2026 for the Safe Room. I really, really
Happy
appreciate it.
2026.
100%. Quickly before we get off, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me Des.Louis, sorry, on Instagram.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And again, guys, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this conversation here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. Again, you want to find us every single Thursday here. It's live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, the website. We got all the fixins. We got all the fixins here. We're gonna wrap things up, but thank you guys for tuning in so much. And make sure you tune in next week to your favorite show on Love Bay Radio. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.